KoKo TV.
In a quiet forest glade, where sunlight streamed through tall oaks and morning mist curled around mossy roots, the animals of the forest were beginning their day. Birds sang, chipmunks chattered, and squirrels leapt from branch to branch. Then came Max Hare, sleek, fast, and full of swagger. His silky morning robe shimmered in the sunlight as he bounced down the path, ears flicking proudly. The other animals admired him as he sped past in a blur of confidence. "Out of the way, everyone," he called. "Fastest in the forest, coming through!"
Morning, everybody! Make room for the fastest ears in the woods!
Go, Max!
Don't mind the breeze, it's just me passing by. Keep those tails out of traffic, friends! I've got places to hop!
Not far behind, moving slowly but steadily, came Toby Tortoise. He wasn't flashy, and his steps were small, but he always smiled politely as he walked. When Max saw Toby, he couldn't resist a laugh. "Well, if it isn't the slowest shell in the forest. Where are you off to, Toby? Bedtime already?" The animals around giggled. Toby blinked, calm and unbothered. "I may be slow," he said gently, "but I always get where I'm going." Max smirked. "Oh, really? Maybe one day you'll catch up. If I stop for lunch, and a nap, and maybe next week." A murmur ran through the crowd. Toby tilted his head. "If you're so sure, why don't we settle it properly?" Max raised an eyebrow. "Settle it? You mean race me?" Toby nodded. "A fair race. You and me." The animals gasped. "A tortoise challenging the hare!" The fox judge, wise and respected by all, stepped forward. "A race, is it? Then a race it shall be. Tomorrow morning, right here, through the forest trail, everyone may come and cheer." The next day, the glade was alive with excitement. Animals crowded around the meadow. Banners of leaves and flowers hung between trees, and across the center fluttered a cloth sign that simply read, "Start." On one side stood Max Hare, stretching and grinning confidently. On the other stood Toby Tortoise, calm as ever, ready to begin.
All right, everybody, gather in. Race is about to start.
This is gonna be good! I've got my money on the bunny!
You'd be smart to. Watch him smoke the track. All right, folks, settle down. We've got a classic matchup today. Speed versus stamina.
"Racers," called the fox judge, raising his flag. "To your marks, get set, go!"
On your marks, get set!
Max exploded forward like lightning. Dust and leaves swirled in his wake. He was gone almost instantly, sprinting between trees and laughing with delight. Toby, meanwhile, took a deep breath and began his journey one careful step at a time. Along the trail, Max bounded over puddles, skipped across logs, and waved to cheering animals. He looked back and saw Toby far behind. So far, he looked like a pebble on the path. Max. Poor old Toby. He'll never catch up. I might as well take a rest. He spotted a shady oak, flopped down in the grass, stretched, and closed his eyes. "Just a quick nap," he murmured. High above, a few mischievous raccoons and blue jays watched. "Think he'll sleep through the whole thing?" whispered one. "He always does," giggled another. While Max snored softly beneath the oak, Toby kept walking. He passed over pebbles, around roots, and under fallen leaves. The raccoons tried rolling tiny stones in his path for fun, but Toby simply stepped around them with patience. "Every step counts," he said kindly. As he passed the shady oak where Max lay sleeping, he smiled gently and nodded. "Rest well, my friend," he whispered, and continued on without a sound. Back in the sunlight, Max twitched his ears in his sleep but didn't stir. A leaf drifted down and landed right on his nose. He snorted, brushed it away, and rolled over with a grin. When Max finally stirred awake, the sun had shifted. He yawned and stretched. "Ah, what a fine nap," he said. "Still plenty of time." Then he heard laughter from up ahead. Young bunny school children were practicing their hops in a meadow. "Max Hare!" they cried. "Show us how it's done!" Max grinned, puffing out his chest. "Well, I hate to disappoint an audience." He bounded into the meadow and began to show off, racing leaves as they fell, leaping over stumps, even performing backflips and flips through the air. He found a bow and arrow leaning against a tree, took aim, and split an apple clean in half. The bunnies squealed with delight and clapped their paws. Back in the meadow, Max basked in applause. "Ah, nothing like being adored," he sighed. "And I still have time to win." But when he looked down the path, his grin vanished. The sun was low, and far, far in the distance, he saw a tiny green shell glinting in the light. "Wait, what?" he gasped. "He's almost there?" With a jolt of panic, Max launched himself into a desperate sprint. His legs blurred, dust flying behind him, trees flashing past in streaks of green and gold. The animals turned as a gust of wind swept through the forest. Max was flying faster than ever before. But ahead, Toby was still moving, slow, steady, and unstoppable. The crowd gathered near the finish line as both racers approached. Everyone held their breath. Max lunged with all his strength, paws outstretched. But in that final heartbeat, Toby lifted his head and stretched his neck forward, and the tip of his nose crossed the line first. There was silence. Then the forest erupted in cheers. "Toby wins! Toby wins!" cried the fox judge, waving his flag. Max slid to a halt, panting and wide-eyed. He couldn't believe it. I lost?" he whispered. Toby turned to him kindly, smiling kindly. "You didn't lose," he said. "You just learned." The hare blinked, then smiled sheepishly. "Slow and steady," he said, "wins the race." Toby chuckled softly. "Exactly." The forest roared with applause. Birds swooped overhead, deer stamped their hooves, and the squirrels tossed acorns like confetti. Later, as twilight painted the trees in gold and purple, Max sat beneath the oak tree where he had napped earlier. A group of little bunnies brought him water. "You were amazing too, Mr. Hare," they said sweetly. He smiled, grateful. Nearby, Toby stood surrounded by friends, the fox judge, the raccoons, the jays, all congratulating him. But Toby simply said, "It wasn't about being fastest. It was about finishing." From that day on, Max and Toby became the best of friends. They were often seen walking side by side through the forest trails, Max chatting away, Toby listening quietly. Sometimes Max would sprint ahead, circle back, and walk beside him again, both laughing as the sun shone through the trees. And whenever a new challenge arose, a race, a contest, a test of courage, the animals would smile and remember that golden morning when the hare learned humility, the tortoise showed heart, and the forest discovered the true meaning of perseverance.
Look at that sparkle. Pretty hard to miss, huh?
It's like the forest is telling us something.
Yeah, maybe it's just saying we should stick around.
Or it's saying other folks should stick around. Hint, hint.
Can't argue with that.